All right, well, I mean, given that, let's dive right into the main event here. We got Deiveson Figueiredo against Brandon Moreno, dudes that we saw legitimately fight 3 weeks ago. In fact, we watched that one together, so very much looking forward to, these guys getting their chance now, or Moreno kind of getting his chance, and Figueiredo kind of trying to solidify himself as fighter of the year in 2020. So this one's going to be great. 3 weeks to prep. They're just going to try and carry over that momentum. Figueiredo definitely got touched up a lot less than Moreno in his last fight. That was a quick submission. I believe as soon as the fight was done, he ran over to Dana and was like, lock it in right now. The next one, I'm good to go. Whereas, Moreno had a little bit tougher of a fight against Royval. He did exert his dominance in that first round, but had dude's shoulder not popped out, I don't know how that fight would have continued on. But with the second to go, Royval's shoulder kind of popped out of his socket there, ending the fight. Figueiredo comes in 20-1 record. He's a true champ. Looking forward to seeing him defend his belt again. Moreno, he comes in hungry. He got his chance. I'm curious to see if he can hang with the champ here. What do you think?
I think that last line is where I want to kind of woo you a little bit here as we get into the lines, all right? So let's talk about my man, Deiveson Figueiredo right now putting up a, dark horse candidate for fighter of the year. Can we talk about that for a quick second? In 2020, if he wins this fight, not only is he in, only title fights, but he would have won them and defended them. That's a pretty crazy factor when you think of us being in a goddamn pandemic. This guy has won the UFC flyweight title and defended it. He's 4 fights in 2020. Crazy, bro.
Curious to ask you, this has to be the quickest turnaround you've seen for somebody defending their belt, no?
Yeah, so the best way to look at it, Pies, is this. 255 to 256. Go into all 254 other UFC fight posters. You will never see another man's face and the same guy's face at the top of those posters ever. You know what I mean? Unless we're talking back to maybe UFC 20 and earlier, where some of these guys were like carrying over. Oh, the tournament's still starting, so I gotta go. Maybe that's what it is. But other than that, like modern day UFC, it's just never happened. And you're right. It is a massive turnaround. It comes down to how quick those fights were, how little damage they took. You did say that Moreno took a bit of damage. You are right in saying that, he took some punches, but that's where I actually want to take this fight into a technical talk. Brandon Moreno taking a few jabs and a couple hard punches in the first round of a fight is like you and I going outside for a quick breath of fresh air. I just don't see that having... If you watch some of his tapes, bro, and what he brings to the table in the second and third rounds of a fight, it would blow you away. I don't think we'll see something so technically sound and just something so savage. Like the 4 fighters that are in these the last 2 fights, it's savage, bro. It's just absolute savagery. They're so technical, but then also look so raw because there's blood everywhere. It's going to be amazing. And that's where you said it best. Moreno can certainly hang with Figueiredo. He is the taller fighter. He is definitely a good striker to the point where he can walk through a lot of punches. Benavidez is the stick and move type, right? Well, Figueiredo can play that game. Alex Perez was kind of trying to stick and move. And what I really felt bad about Perez was I actually thought that there was at least some indications of maybe doing better than maybe Benavidez did in that last fight. But, he kept getting caught in those moments where the grappling just took over. And it was just so amazing to see on more than one occasion Figueiredo go for the same type of move and land it. You know what I mean? That was what kind of solidified what I saw in him as a champion and just as an overall MMA athlete, because those are the things, right? A very similar example is when you're against the fence in a clinch and those guys that, you choose to separate, but in that quick second that elbow comes in right across the face, those are championship decisions. I'm going to break this down for you exactly the way I always thought of it. Think about breakaways. You know what I mean? A hockey breakaway, right? And that once they pass that blue line, bro, the amount of time they have to decide what they're going to do to score that goal is insane. You need a certain level of skill and mental fortitude to pull off both the hand skill that is required and the mental skill to make all of your body line up for that. That's what I'm saying makes champions MMA. those different. That's what made John Jones so goddamn good. No matter how he's separated, no matter what he did, he was getting a shot in. So you're coming off of the clinch in the fence, land a quick elbow to that temple. You know what I mean? Get those knees in if they're putting their head down.
Really make the most of those opportunities.
And that's where I kind of see you have a guy who has that in him. But Brandon Moreno has just taken beatings. He's never been finished. Like what?
Wow.
He's in a I'm telling you right now, bro. Deiveson Figueiredo is in a fight for his life. And I don't even want to know the lines, bro, because I'm going to tell you right now, my lean is Brandon Moreno.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Wow. Mm-hmm. High praise. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter what the line is. That's your lean on the dog,
no,
right?
I'm gonna play the game. I want to play the game, and I want to know what the line would be on that lean, because then we can have a conversation quickly about just finalizing kind of how that looks as we kind of conclude the day.
Perfect. So, let's jump right into it. Who do Figueiredo's the favorite? I don't even know why I brought that up, but where do you see the line going?
Yeah, no, and so I will give him a minus 200. I do think that everything in play, that is a minus 200 to a minus 250 favorite. So you know what? Let's lock it in at minus 225 as the favorite of the main event.
Before I reveal the line, who, in terms of a dog, Perez versus Moreno here, do you see them on the same level? Do you think Moreno is a better fight for him? Obviously, hindsight's 2020 because we saw Perez get finished in the first. But, just kind of approaching it going into each fight, do you believe that they are similar contenders?
No. I believe that Brandon Moreno should have gotten that title fight the first time around. But unfortunately, that was a perfect opportunity for a Dana White Contender Series fighter. Probably the best fighter that's come out of it. Probably the best fighter that's come out of the Dana White Contender Series, outside of maybe a Kevin Holland or something. But he has title implications. Kevin Holland is a little bit further away than that. So Perez was a great pull to be like, hey guys, Dana White Contender Series, check out next season. We've got some pretty good fighters. They're so good that they can, take on the champion who's already fought twice this year.
Champs.
So that's where I think Brandon Moreno had a chip on his shoulder going into that fight, which is why you saw him absolutely demolish Brandon Royval. And I'll be honest with you, even if that injury didn't happen, Brandon Moreno was going to wipe the floor with Brandon Royval. That's for sure.
All right, so I mean, these odds are going to make you kind of jump out of your seat then a little bit more too, because the odds for both fights are the same. Figueiredo was a minus 340 favorite against Perez, and he's a minus 340 favorite against Moreno as well. It's the exact same line as that fight.
And how funny would it have been to actually get to watch that Brandon Moreno Alex Perez fight, right? Because that in itself was the denomination in terms of which one of these guys are going to get it, and then the other guy was kind of left to fend for himself, right? The other guy was getting Brandon Royval basically, and so that's where I kind of laughed about Perez getting that fight over Brandon Moreno. And if you talk to any hardcore fight fan, I'm pretty sure they felt the same way. And it was just a really good promotional factor. And frankly, Brandon Moreno is a guy that's going to get his shot anyways. And so here we are with that opportunity heading into Saturday. My point here, Pies, the reason why, you said it best. As a gambling man, you're probably now even thinking after what I've said, Moreno is still a good bet now because of the comparison to Perez.
It's an even better bet. I'm getting the same odds when you were clearly the better contender for Figueiredo.
And this is where
music to my ears there.
Yeah, because Pies, this is where I'm going to break it down for you really quickly. Let's think about classic style boxing fights, right? That's where you see a lot of these hey, remember, we watched one together. Remember Lomachenko's fight very recently? That was a huge favorite. And just the grittier, stronger fighter just, came out to fight. And I think in this case right now, you're going to see a guy who, hey, guess what, man? I am not Benavidez. I don't need to be afraid of your punches. I'm not going to have to dance around you to land one punch. Hey, man, guess what? I'm not Alex Perez. I don't find myself getting trapped in a lot of, unfavorable positions for myself, especially that early in the fight when I have all my energy. He is a monster, Pies. He throws. So here's my thing. If Figueiredo wins, I think it's going to be by decision because I'm just finding it hard to believe that he can finish a guy. And here's the thing. Everyone can get finished once, right? I'm not even discounting that. My thing is I've seen how they've all fought. And I think I've seen Moreno take enough power shots, especially early and that kind of thing, that tells me I just don't see it happening. But, power's power. Power is unpredictable. Anything can happen. If he lands this punch and he knocks out Brandon Moreno, Pies, if this kid does not win Fighter of the Year and potentially gets put in this pound for pound list, I'm a little blown away because he is slowly becoming the guy to watch in the UFC, and he revived an entire division, bro. Dana White wanted
I was going to say, weren't they going to scrap it?
Dana White was completely going to scrap this division. And it's just so funny because you had Demetrius Johnson, so you couldn't scrap it. Then you had Henry Cejudo come along, and Dana White's like, fuck, now I got to deal with this guy. And then he actually just ends up, relinquishing both belts. But now you have a guy like this that ends up fighting for the, vacant title and just starts demolishing everybody. That's the part that I'm just a little
dominating.
Yeah, and I'm not upset if Brandon Moreno loses. Don't get me wrong. I just think that in terms of technical skill that he brings to the table, he's now about to fight a dog, a guy who just loves to take those punches. Those guys that kind of enjoy the pain. I mean, Brandon Moreno seems to enjoy the pain, and I think that this is going to be a tough one.
Oh yeah, and so just for a few numbers on some plus value there, Moreno is a plus 250, so there is the opportunity to sprinkle there. If you do think Figueiredo has a chance in decision, that's a plus 350. So him winning and finishing the fight is heavily favored.
And so that's kind of what I'm personally getting at, right? Like, you look at this and you're seeing, the last time he went to a decision was Pantoja back in 2019. 4 fights since, all finishes within the first 2 rounds. So for me, I get where that comes from. I just don't think that Brandon Moreno is Tim Elliott, Joseph Benavidez, or Alex Perez. That's my point. Because at the same time,
for sure,
Deiveson Figueiredo is the same guy that lost a decision to UCA Formiga. You know what I mean? That's where what I have to tell myself. UCA Formiga is also the guy that Alex Perez beat by leg kicks very quickly and very easily. So even to put that all, like they call it, right? Like, that's the MMA circus for you. It's all about the MMA match, and it just sometimes doesn't add up. But I think this is where you can use tape to be like, well, going down to Figueiredo's list of fighters, I think he might have just caught someone that enjoys taking those blows.
And it sounds like Moreno has no problem taking the blows. So even looking at an over 2.5 at even money, that seems super juicy in a 5-round fight.
Totally, man. That's kind of what I'm saying, right? Like, the thing that I love about that is that tells me that even my 1.5 is going to have enough value for me to either take it straight or maybe parlay if it hits that minus 200, 300. But like, there's no way you're telling me that that's the number for the 4.5, and then I can, you know what I mean? Like, that's what makes me excited about that, because I definitely can see.
So what you're saying is over 1.5 Figueiredo and Cyril Gain to not go the distance, huh? You're seeing that minus 200 parlay.
I really am, man. I really, really am. And that's a great snipe on your part to just pick that. Because we were seeing value on the under there, but the no distance is where I just see either fighter being able to pull it off. And we hedge the bet on that shroom guy out in Vegas who's just like having fun.
Oh, man, that is too good. So, yeah, that parlay we could probably get at a plus 125. Stay tuned for that one. All of our picks are going to be locked in on Instagram, on Twitter. We'll be making sure to post all our plays, including the entire fight night card, all of our picks. As always, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Anything else you want to plug, Siraj?
Honestly, guys, this is probably gonna be my favorite card in a very, very long time, and so I'm gonna try my absolute best with Paisan to get as much content rolling out as we can for this week. We're gonna have a lot of fun with it, and I'm excited to maybe get together with you, Pies, and watch, because this is going to be an absolute fire card. I can't wait.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait either. It was a pleasure, Siraj. Love talking to you, man.
You too, my boy. Maybe I'll be back in my Edward Snowden dungeon soon, but till then, peace out, y'all.
Later.